Hello, welcome to Supporting Workforce Mobility Initiatives with Time and Attendance. This webinar will be recorded and emailed to all registrants, and it will also be made available online. If you're on Twitter, you can follow us at nettime, and throughout the webinar, our marketing team will be live tweeting using hashtag mobileworking, so please feel free to contribute to the conversation over the next half hour. My name is Jennifer Spencer. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Nettime Solutions, and I'm joined by Corey Lamley, who is our Senior Applications Developer. So in today's webinar, first we'll take a look at some of the benefits of organizations having mobility initiatives, both on the business level and on the employee level. Next, we'll dive deeper into today's mobile worker to try to better understand the human resources landscape that's been affected by innovative technologies. Then I'd like to take us through the BYOD, or Bring Your Own Device movement, that is consumer-driven and is pushing organizations to formulate programs and policies to support today's technologically savvy mobile worker. Of course, with the BYOD movement, companies like yours have to adjust to support a technically diverse workforce. So we'll offer our solution to some of the multiple device challenges that companies today are facing. Then next, Corey will take us on a tour of stratustime mobile interface, both at the employee and the manager level. And finally, we'll close with a Q&A session. So feel free to enter your questions directly into the question field of the GoToWebinar control panel, and we'll be sure to answer those questions at the end of the webinar. So you're here today because you know that workforce mobility is fundamentally changing the concept of where and how work is done. And what we'd like to show you today is how time and attendance is an integral part of the new mobile workforce. According to a recent study from TechInsights, 83% of businesses in the United States recognize a greater need for realizing business opportunities with mobility, and 91% of that group plans to integrate a mobile work style to support these opportunities. So why are 91% of these businesses planning to integrate a mobile work style? It's because organizations that have already done so have seen an increase in their revenue, expedited time to market, improved competitive positioning, enhanced customer experiences, and improved employee productivity, in addition to lower costs overall. To be more specific, within the last year, Citrix published their Mobility in Business report, which really highlighted the broad range of benefits that U.S. companies have experienced by investing in business mobility. Nearly 2/3, or 62% of respondents, cited the ability to execute tasks more quickly, followed by greater flexibility to meet customer needs, improved employee motivation, reduced costs, increased productivity, improved business continuity, and better support for remote workers, all ranked highly as well. Investment in mobility initiatives is also felt on the employee level, with over half of the respondents citing an increase in productivity. 46% cited better responsiveness to their customers, and 52% felt they had greater flexibility. It's important to note that work-life balance and improved job satisfaction also ranked highly at 43%. Now, there are more mobile employees in today's workforce than ever before. This can be because a valuable employee has had to relocate, because an ideal candidate for an open position happens to be in another state, or perhaps an employee's daily responsibilities simply require him to work out of the office. Regardless, we're looking at 450 million mobile workers worldwide. So if you're a manager, the key to reaping the benefits of a mobile employee is understanding what he needs to be successful in his position. Depending on the requirements of his job, an employee might be working from home, at another office or job site, in a coffee shop, at a shared workstation, or while traveling. Really, the possibilities are endless. Each location presents a circumstance where the employee might not have access to certain devices, and with mobile employees using several different electronics throughout the workday, it's important for each device to be able to tackle the needs at hand. So let's take a quick poll. For those of you on the webinar today, which of the following do you use weekly for business purposes? You can answer as many as apply. Do you use a desktop computer, a laptop computer, a desk phone, a smartphone, and a tablet. So go ahead and answer that question right in the GoToWebinar control panel, and I'll give you just a minute. Okay, it looks like we have most of the responses in. Not surprisingly, 100% of those of us on today's webinar use our smartphone for business. We've got about 80% using a desktop computer and about another 50% using a laptop computer, 64% using a desk phone, and about 20% using a tablet. So let's see how our group here today stacks up against the national averages. According to a recent study from Forrester Research, 84% of mobile employees still use a desktop computer and 63% use a laptop computer, meaning that most of them are using both and are maintaining 2 computers at any given time. 59% use a desk phone and 48% are using a smartphone for business. Meanwhile, 21% have added a tablet to their business arsenal. All in all, today's mobile worker carries on average 3.5 devices, so he can most successfully do his job. And one of the most widely used devices is, of course, the smartphone. So I have another poll for the group here. The question is, where or when are you using your smartphone for business activities? Do you use it while you're at the office, at a client facility, while you're traveling or commuting, while you're at home, or while you're at a public space? So go ahead and, just like last time, enter your responses into the GoToWebinar control panel. You can answer as many as you want. So overwhelming, most of us are using our smartphones while we're at home. We have about 80% picking that item, about another 60% using at the office, 40% in a client facility, and 100% of us using our smartphone while we're traveling or commuting. So according to Forrester, 64% of respondents use their smartphones while they're sitting at their office desks, and 47% use them in some other office space, such as a conference room or a coworker's office. And remember, this is for business use, not including personal use. 46% use their smartphones to conduct business while they're off-site at a client facility, and 69% use them to work while they're at home. 64% use smartphones on their commute, hopefully not while they're actually driving a vehicle, while 44% use them in a public space like a coffee shop, and 47% use their smartphone for business while they're traveling. So with all of these mobile devices like smartphones, tablets, and even those hybrid phablets that are now consuming the marketplace, many companies are now supporting some kind of bring your own device program within their organization. In fact, at least 250 million workers worldwide practice bring your own device, or BYOD, in some form. Now, in some cases, BYOD refers to employees paying for and bringing their own personal devices into the office for business purposes. However, in some instances, BYOD can refer to employees having the opportunity to choose their work devices. And interestingly enough, 36% of today's workforce is willing to put in their own money if it means using the device of their choice. What we must remember is that we no longer live in a world where employees are using one simple set of tools to get their work done. In today's world of anytime, anywhere work, employees are using the devices that are most convenient: a desktop at home, a laptop at work, a tablet in a client meeting, and a smartphone practically anywhere and everywhere. The convenience of mobile tools such as laptops, tablets, and smartphones is setting the bar for what your mobile workforce expects. They want access to the internet and all of their business tools from any location and on any device. What BYOD programs are opening up is the opportunity for many different types of devices to be used together within one organization. In another report from Citrix, they asked their users which mobile platforms they supported. Android was by far the most popular among respondents, with 72% reporting that they either supported or had plans to support it. And interestingly, 65% of all respondents have seen an increased use of Android in their organization. Apple iOS remains popular as well, with 54% supporting or planning to support the platform, and 48% reporting an increase in its use. Microsoft 8 is proving to be more popular than Windows Mobile, with 46% supporting the more full-featured operating system compared with 32% for the mobile. And BlackBerry still retains a significant presence in the business market, supported by 35% of companies. Regardless of what you offer as part of your company's technological resources, you may have employees who are simply willing to bring a personal device into the office to use for business purposes. So let's say your sales rep gets a Nexus tablet for her birthday, and she's discovered ways she can use the tablet to be more productive at work, both when she's in the office and off-site at client meetings. So now she'd like access to company resources via her personal tablet. And why not? Providing corporate access to certain employees on their personal devices can be more economical for your company, as the employee is generally the one paying for both the device and any associated data plans. Moreover, restricting access without providing an alternative for mobile users can create new risks for your company, including competitive disadvantage, employee dissatisfaction, and work inefficiencies. Undoubtedly, as our technological ecosystem becomes more complex, it can be incredibly difficult for IT departments to both manage and support mobility deployments with traditional technologies, policies, and processes. So let's look back at this slide that shows a rather small, by today's standards, assortment of devices. Employees want to have the devices they are most comfortable using, particularly if their role is heavily reliant on certain types of software. A few weeks ago, I was participating in an online demo with some of my coworkers, and our sales representative asked if we all had iPhones. Well, some of us on the call said yes, we had iPhones. A few people spoke up and said, no, I'm on an Android, or I've got a Windows phone. Our representative sort of hesitated and then said, well, we don't quite have our app yet for those devices, but if you have an iPhone, we have this great app that will allow you to take our product with you. This was, of course, great for iPhone users, but it sort of left the rest of the group feeling a bit cold. So what's the solution? Here, I'll give you guys a hint. So in case you haven't figured it out, cloud-based software is the perfect complement to any mobility initiative, along with mobile interfaces that are truly mobile-ready solutions. By utilizing cloud-based technologies, your company will experience lower IT costs, access to innovation, increased security, and a platform that is optimized for mobility. When you choose cloud-based software, you avoid the overhead that is associated with implementing conventional software and purchasing and maintaining servers to store your data. If you already have experienced IT personnel on staff, are there other projects those individuals could be working on? Or if you don't have the infrastructure of an IT department, have you considered the added expense of either hiring IT professionals or contracting an agency to service your organization? If you have experience with licensing software, you know that even though the software company has come out with new improvements, you're going to have to wait for the next software release to gain access to that innovative technology. There may even be hardware and other support-related repercussions of upgrading your software. However, with a cloud-based model, you'll have access to these innovations on a regular basis. In fact, here at Nettime Solutions, our software updates are deployed every 2 weeks, so you and your team will always have access to the very latest we have to offer. It might sound counterintuitive to think that your data will be more secure up in the cloud than right in your own server room, but should some sort of disaster unfortunately strike, such as a natural disaster or security breach, your data will be safe and secure, and you'll be able to get up and running easily from anywhere in the world via the internet. The concept of cloud-based computing makes cloud-based software naturally optimized for mobility. Because your data is in the cloud and not stored on any one device, all you need is access to the internet to take your time and attendance software with you wherever you go. One of the things we're seeing, even from fellow cloud-based software companies, is that their mobile solutions aren't really solutions. In fact, they easily cause more challenges for users. For example, if your software provider is promoting an app that the user would need to download from an app store of some kind, that technology is actually quite counterproductive. Remember that story I told you about, the call my team was on and the sales rep was touting his company's app that would only serve the iPhone users in our group? Well, this is one of the reasons our stratustime mobile interface is actually a mobile website and not an app. When you compare mobile websites to apps in the cloud-based business world, mobile websites are significantly more accessible and compatible than their app cousins. A mobile website allows a user to type a standard website address right into his or her mobile browser of choice and access the mobile site immediately. All a user needs is an internet connection. Nothing has to be downloaded or installed. Users don't have to worry about the amount of physical space available on their device, and managers don't need to be concerned that their employees have the most updated software on their devices. So now I'm going to pass the reins here over to Corey, who is our Senior Applications Developer at Nettime Solutions and is responsible for creating, maintaining, and improving StratuStime's mobile interface, among other projects we have here at Nettime.
Thanks, Jennifer. Again, my name is Corey Lamley, and I'm the engineering lead for the mobile product here at Nettime Solutions. Today, I'll be running through what our mobile solution currently looks like, and I'll be giving you a feel for how employees and managers can utilize this mobile interface within their own companies. So interacting with the mobile interface is pretty easy. Basically, you bookmark the URL, and you create a desktop shortcut, and pretty much you're ready to go. Users can log in to their company's interface by simply entering the client ID, which is your company's name, and then entering in the username and password. If you want, you can save your information so you won't have to enter it again. Let's go ahead and see what happens when we log in. So once a user logs in, they will be directed to either the employee dashboard or the manager dashboard based on their profile. We're going to look at the employee dashboard first. As you can see, everything is optimized for touch-based interaction. The buttons are large, and scrolling is basically a simple swipe of your finger. For most non-exempt employees, they will have the luxury of clocking in and out directly from the employee dashboard. This allows them to punch their times with basically one touch. Once a punch is saved, the user is notified and they can put away their device until the next punch. Employees currently have the option to view their time cards and submit time off by clicking the time card or time off buttons. Let's go ahead and run through the time card interface. The time card interface has three screens, which we have navigated to from the top menu buttons. These screens are time card entry, details, and summary. Let's go through all three starting on the left. The time card entry interface is normally geared towards exempt employees and can be enabled or disabled based on an employee's profile. The entry interface allows employees to easily edit, copy, and delete times. The employee can basically search on a date range, and the times are presented back to the user on a per-week interval, which can be collapsed or expanded. To add a new time, you basically touch the Add button, enter your time, choose your labor levels, and enter an optional note. Users can also repeat a time block very easily by using the copy feature. So for example, you could enter a time block for say 9 to 5 or Monday, and then easily copy the same time block onto another day. The next screen is the details screen. This is basically a read-only view for both exempt and non-exempt employees. This allows employees to see how their hours were entered by a given time period. The last screen is the summary screen. This screen allows an employee to see all the total hours they have worked for a given period and then easily approve their time card so that it can be sent to their manager. Now that we've had a quick preview of the time card screen, let's check out the time off screen. The time off screen is very straightforward. An employee can easily submit time off requests and also view time already taken. The first screen on the left simply asks for the time the employee wants to take off. As the employee enters their dates, the project balance area is dynamically adjusting to give the employee a full overview of how much time they have left. This value also calculates future estimated time accruals and time off submittals. The next screen is the summary screen. Once an employee has submitted their times, they can check back to see the request status or just check previous requests. An employee can also remove a request here. So that covers some of the features of the employee. Let's jump over and look at things from a manager's point of view. So this is the main manager dashboard. The first widget that most managers will see on the dashboard is the employee status board. This shows the current punch state of every employee in your system. For example, if you wanted to see all the employees that are currently clocked out for the day, then you would touch the clock out bar, and it would still list all clocked out employees. The next widget directly below is the action summary widget. This widget gives managers an action queue to work from. This allows managers to make sure all their duties are dealt with appropriately. For example, touching the time off request button will take us to the manager's time off approval screen, which we will see on the next slide. The manager time approval screen is basically the reverse display of what an employee submits. This screen allows the manager to simply check the times they want to approve for each employee and then save those results back to the stratustime servers. Because most people carry their devices on them, they can easily communicate issues with their managers in real time if needed. Let's go ahead and end this presentation with one more screen. So the last screen we're going to cover is the mass editor. This utility lets managers clock in or clock out a large group of selected employees or even an individual employee. This feature is very straightforward to use. Basically, you select the employees you want and then you choose a transaction. And with a few touches, you can clock in or clock out your entire company. So many of these items I've demonstrated today are currently live and usable within the mobile interface. As the need for mobile continues to grow, so will the feature sets that we plan to add to the stratustime mobile interface. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Jennifer.
So thank you for joining nettime Solutions for supporting workforce mobility initiatives with time and attendance. If you'd like to learn more about stratustime and see if it's the right automated time and attendance system for your organization, give us a call at 1-800-561-6366 or visit us online at nettimesolutions.com to request a customized demonstration. We'll be emailing all of our registrants a recording of this webinar within the next 24 to 48 hours, and that email will also include a copy of our newest article, Top 10 Tips for Cloud-Based Software. Again, thank you for spending some time with us today. From all of us here at nettime Solutions, we hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.